welcome to Up the Turnpike, your source for New York Islanders content both here on YouTube and over on Patreon, where we have our podcast twice a week. That's patreon.com/uptheturnpike. In this video, what we're doing is we're looking at the top 5 players in the Islanders prospect pool. So we're taking a step back from the New York Islanders per se and looking at potential future New York Islander players. Without further ado, let's jump right into the ranking here. Now, this is a home-baked ranking. It's based off my own derivative NHLE from the NHLE you can find elsewhere, but I've tweaked it a little bit to my specific interests. You can read all about NHLE online. There's a ton of material out there. But here are my top 5 players within the New York Islanders prospect pool right meow. First up, Alex Jefferies at number 1 with a 36.2 NHLE. If you're wondering what NHLE is, it effectively says if this player was to jump from whatever level they're at today and go to the NHL, based off of the production he had in the previous league, this is what we would expect him to be at the NHL level in terms of production. 36.2 would be effectively where they see Alex, or where my formula sees Alex Jeffrey being at the NHL level. From there, Quinn Finley, 25.3, Cole Eiserman, 23.6, same thing for Cameron Berg, and then rounding out the top 5, kind of surprising for me, Justin Gill at 23.1. I'll get to why that was surprising a little bit later. And if I forget, because sometimes I do, remind me in the comments. Samuel Bolduc and Matthew Maggio just below that at 22.5 and 0.4 respectively. Now, let's get to these guys specifically. Alex Jefferies is at the top of the list because he is doing phenomenally at the AHL level right now. If I bring up his specific card, and pardon me if this is super nerdy, but I friggin' love this stuff, my spreadsheets. Alex Jefferies has 9 points in 11 games at the AHL level, currently day-to-day at the time of recording, but he's playing at a 36.2 NHL pace. And what you'll notice here in this chart is that, or this spreadsheet, if you will, his growth rate, his NHLE growth rate has gone up every single year. This year taking a big jump, growing by 14 points. And I like to use this other table here to visualize it a little bit better than just looking at straight numbers. Look at this graph here. This graph shows you the projected growth rate, or not even projected, but the average growth rate of a first line player. That's the blue line. The red line is a second line player, and the yellow line is a third line player. Alex Jefferies is firmly a second line player at this point of his career, of his growth rate, or growth, whatever you want to call it. He's growing into a second line player. I thought he'd be a third line player max at the NHL level. Right now, it looks like if he were to jump into the NHL, he'd be a second line player for these New York Islanders, which is huge. Now, I'm not just trying to say like, Lou Lamoriello, you got to call up our boy Alex Jefferies today because he's playing like a second liner and we can use that. No, I'm not advocating for that right now. I want to keep letting him cook. He's obviously day-to-day right now, so you can't call him up anyways. Once he returns, just let him cook at the AHL level, please, at least this year. Unless we get into more injury troubles, then obviously my opinion would change. But as it stands now, just let Alex Jefferies cook. If you want the down low on what his style of play is, speed and smarts. He's a fast player, and he's super smart with the puck. That's basically like the Cole's notes of Alex Jefferies' game. If we're to go to number 2, which is Quinn Finley here, Quinn Finley doing well as well, 14 points in 12 games for the Wisconsin Badgers. And you see in his graph, kind of like with Alex Jefferies, the green line, unlike Alex Jefferies, goes down last year. That's when he jumps to the NCAA level from the USHL. And that's kind of to be expected. For most players, when they make a jump to the next level, there's an adjustment process. There absolutely is. But he has made up for it big time. Again, he's playing like a third line player right now in his D+3 year is Quinn Finley. And I think what's important to note with Quinn Finley is not only is he's playing a third line player, okay, and he's doing a point per game at Wisconsin, is that he is young. Quinn Finley was the youngest player drafted in his draft class when the Islanders picked him up. I just want to go over his age just to conceptualize the age, like how young he actually is. He's been in the prospect pool for 2 years now. He is 20 and just turned 20 years old in August. In August, this guy is super young. He's still got another couple of years left, probably at the NCAA level, but he's still going to come out of that younger than most players, which is an absolute win for the Islanders. The fact that this guy's growing into this really strong two-way player at the NCAA level and is still going to have years and years, maybe not years and years, but an extra year basically on the rest of his cohort to grow, music to our ears. Number 3 is Cole Eiserman. Everyone loves to talk about Cole Eiserman right now, and rightfully so. Like, I don't want to say it like I don't like the player. I obviously do. Playing above a second line player rate right now for his age, which is huge. Scoring a ton of goals for Boston University. If I can bring up his card here, Cole Eiserman. Come on, there we go. Sometimes I can't read quickly. 11 points in 11 games, 7 goals so far, NHLE of 19.6. He is obviously taking that step up from the USHL, a national development program, into the NCAA level and is killing it. I had one main reservation, specifically when looking at his production. It was all goals for a while. All he had were goals, and I was really worried that we're not going to see that assist number go up and that we would effectively be not stuck, but have another one-dimensional player. Yeah, he's great at scoring goals, but when you're out there, you still have to do more than that. He is clearly added to that. Since then, he's got 4 helpers. That's great. That's great for... I'm never going to want to... I'm not never going to want to see, but I don't think I'll ever see a 50-50 split in terms of goal scoring and assists for Cole Eiserman. I'll take it, obviously. But I think we're always going to see the goal numbers higher than the assists numbers, which lends itself to a little bit of a single dimension. But I think his game is rounding out here at the college level, which is the whole point of him playing there, right? That's why the New York Islanders sent him there, or not he sent him there, it was his choice, but why they're happy with him going there and being under the tutelage of Jay Pandolfo. He will learn how to play a two-way game on top of all of these other things. And remember, there's a one real big criticism of Oliver Wahlstrom's that he just wasn't a well-rounded player. When he came to the NHL level, Barry Trotz sent him back to the AHL, said he's got to learn how to play the game. Not in that tone, obviously, but those were the words he used. He needed to learn how to play some defense off the puck and the system and play off of his teammates and with his teammates. Something that he hadn't learned at that level, but something that is clearly being learned by Cole Eiserman right now. So that's huge. Fourth on the list is Cameron Berg, who's playing for the University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Let me flip the monitor back over here if I want to take Cameron Berg. He is slowly taking a step up here. He had plateaued. These 2 years is where he was playing for the University of Omaha, Nebraska. And he was doing well. He was third line, second line player, getting power play minutes, and it's center, right? But it just wasn't really, he wasn't growing, it seemed. And then he entered the portal. Thank God the portal was a thing, and went over to the University of North Dakota, which was basically his childhood team, and he has flourished. He is back to where we kind of expect him to be, playing somewhere around a third liner type of role if he were to jump at the NHL level, playing on a good team in North Dakota. Maybe not as good as they used to be, but still good nonetheless. He is learning a lot of valuable lessons from one of the best, I would say, hockey programs in college hockey. And so that's going to be invaluable when he eventually becomes pro, because this is his fourth year of college hockey. 2 years at Nebraska and 2 years here at North Dakota. So he's probably going to go pro next year, and we'll get a sense of what he's up to, or how he has rounded out and what lessons he has learned from UND next season. But so far he's grasping it all, and obviously playing for his hometown club, if you will, and that's got to feel good. And then final one here in the top 5 is Justin Gill, which I say with a bit of derision, not because I don't like the player. It just kind of surprises me. I wasn't a big fan, admittedly, of his game at the junior level. Obviously, he did very well last year where is his card here? I forget exactly. Right, for the Baie-Comeau de Raccord. had 98 points in 65 games with 40 goals, which is a little bit down from the year prior. Keep in mind, he was an overager, right? So you're thinking overager should be doing pretty well, which he did. But you don't want them to take effectively a leap, like a lateral move, right? He went to have 16.8 NHLE 2 years ago, and then last year, 18.5 NHLE. And you're going, that's not really moving up as you're growing. Right? We all remember William Zaful, what he did in that 1 year with when he just exploded with 116 points in 66 games, 56 goals that season. It just exploded. Justin Gill didn't have that type of explosion. Now, that may have been a good thing as well, right? You're seeing a maturity in his game where it's not like all of a sudden he's really, really good. It's just, I am a really, really good player at this level. And it seems to be following him. I know there were some people, specifically in our Discord channel, Burms was saying he was really happy with Justin Gill's game and the type of game he plays as being that like modern power forward, if you will. And it's really working. He's got 2 points, although in 3 games at the AHL level, and 7 points in 8 games at the ECHL level. So he put in the shift. He put in the work at the ECHL level. Obviously, injuries happens. Call-ups needed to take place at the AHL level, and subsequently got a call-up there, and is doing relatively well. It's a small sample size with only 3 games, but it seems that he is doing better than I anticipated. And as such, his NHLE is growing yet again, though just marginally. You can see here he only gained 1.5 points. So technically still, plateauing, if you will, or lateral, but it hasn't been the quite Quinn Finley experience, if you will, as he's jumped up from the minors into the pros, right? Quinn Finley, when he went not to the pros, but to the NCAA level, took a hit to his NHLE. That has not happened for Justin Gill. So that's important to remember right there and then. And he is somewhere between a second and a third liner in terms of production. That's pretty damn good, man, for a guy that I didn't expect to be anywhere near this. So that's your top 5 right now in terms of Islanders prospects in the prospect pool. It is by no means definitive. I'm sure your top 5 might be different. I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. It helps us a whole lot. Just hitting that subscribe button. Please do that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.